Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Mental Toughness and Body Show. My name is Rob Evans, and I'm your weight loss coach, health strategist, and internationally published author, helping take your life and your business, your health, fitness, mindset, and body from where you are right now to where it is that you want to be. And I've got a terrific guest with me today. Rod Anderson is his name. He's a very successful business owner, and he's been in business for over 40 years now. And that doesn't just happen by mistake. That's purposeful action. What I love about Rod is his outlook to business, success, life, family, all of that. Rod, welcome to the show. Thanks for taking time out of your day today.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. I'm happy to be here.
So, Rod, we've only just met each other briefly just recently. Maybe you could share with us a little bit about you, your experience, your business, and let's start there.
Well, yeah, it's a bit hard to summarize, your life down in 5 minutes or so, but basically, in a way, pretty boring. Like wife and I got married when she was 17, I was 18. So we've been still married for 42 odd years. I was a second or third year apprentice, cabinet maker. We lived in a caravan for a couple of years. Then as soon as I finished my trade, I become a tradesman, and that's when I started working for myself 40 years ago. So basically, pretty boring. This, no second or third marriage. Just the one lady all this time.
That's not boring, by the way.
Yeah. So basically, 42 years of marriage and 40 years of marriage to my business. And basically just the long haul, head down, bum up, and keeping things really, really simple. Not complicating things. So basically, I've built my way up from living in a pretty rough area called Woodridge up in Brisbane, and now I've got a lovely family, and basically. Live in a $5 million house. Life is good. I'm 61, and just ready to go into retirement. And I've had a fair bit of coaching and a fair bit of work on the old head sort of thing. And and basically I've learned quite a few lessons. And just like head down, bum up, keep things simple. We have our worries. My wife and I have nearly been broke twice, but we just sort of grin and bear it and learn from every experience.
Yeah. So let's break that down a little bit. So you started in cabinet making. So what is a natural progression? It's not an area of strength of mine, even though my dad, who's no longer with us, he was a turner and fitter and stuff. But is that a natural progression to go into? Because you now run a highly successful kitchen business. Is that a natural progression that you thought, oh yeah, I really want to do kitchens?
Yes and no. Like when you first start out as a one-man show, you do anything, especially when you're living in a caravan. So you learn a lot while you're making all the mistakes, doing all the little jobs. And kitchens is probably the most profitable area. So you tend to lean in towards kitchens, and basically it's all I've specialized in for probably 30 of them 40 years. So kitchens. We specialize in kitchens. We don't necessarily do upmarket kitchens, but we don't do cheap and nasty kitchens. So we do about 300 kitchens a year, and our average kitchen's $20,000 odd, and they're lovely people. Yeah, they're easy kitchens to make, and that's the market we concentrate on.
Yeah, right. So tell me a bit about the passion. Was the passion more, well, I'm sure you can't stay doing what you're doing if it's just about the money. Because that runs out after a while, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Money. So I'll tell you we'll give you your website a plug. What's your website?
Just rodskitchens.com.au.
Yeah. So I was having a look on there, and my immediate take from that was, this is a family business that really cares about their customers.
Yeah. Like 3 of my 4 kids work there. My second and third eldest actually run Rod's Kitchens, so I very rarely go to work these days. So it is a family business, but what we do is we pretend that every customer is our only customer.
Yeah. Right.
And everything that goes right or wrong, I take it personally still.
Yes.
So the passion's there. Our most valuable asset in our business is we've got a 12.5 metre by 2.5 metre high wall in our showroom that we call the Wall of Fame. And what it is, it's before the reviews and internet was around, people would send you lovely little thank you notes and thanks for a wonderful job. Well, we've kept all of them over the 40 years, and we've put them all up on the wall. So basically, rather than us saying to our customers when they come in the showroom how fantastic we are, we just say, look, we could be lying. Every kitchen company is going to say how fantastic they are,
Yes.
but see that 12.5 metre long wall, that doesn't lie. So so it's our most proudest asset. And as far as the passion, the passion comes from me down to all the workers. So we most of my workers have been with me 10 or 15 years. One's been there 32 years. So we act like a family. We have our ups and downs, and we dig each other, me included. So every time I get a new employee, I ask them not to be too precious, because if you're getting taken the piss out of, it's because we like you, and don't be offensive. Don't take it an offence. So we've got a lovely culture at work, and that oozes onto the customers. Once the customer comes into our showroom, the showroom girls are wonderful. My phone number's there for anyone to ring me. So I'm available anytime. And the problems we do have are usually only minor, but if it's major, I certainly get involved. And we always thank people whenever we get a complaint. Doesn't matter how small it is, we absolutely love it, because we thank the people. Otherwise, if we weren't told about the plumber leaving a mess, we'd think the plumber's doing a good job. So we've actually sent people overnight in motel rooms as a thank you. We always send them flowers if something goes wrong. So we just act like a one-man show, even though I got 20 employees.
You've mentioned so much gold just in that little snippet there. And I think that a lot of what you said really resonates from your website, because, we've only just met. I went to your website, I saw one of the videos that you had there. I see that, you provide a 10-year guarantee on your kitchens. You back your work. It's family business. You've been around since 1979. You can see that like 1% of instances you get complaints where you have to rectify things. But then what you've said there is about when you do, thanking people for that, that those little things that separate you from everybody else, because you know that if it's I don't know, a Bunnings or someone like that that's come to do the kitchen, they're not putting you up in a motel for the night. They're not sending you flowers. They're not doing any of those things.
My successes comes from my customers. I'm only smart enough to listen to them. So all my paperwork, all my systems have all been developed from customer suggestions and fine tuning from all the suggestions. So basically, the only thing that I'm smart at is listening to the customers. Really, it's my customers who have made my business really successful.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And I think the other thing when it comes to success, people get this perception these days around success, in that in order for you to grow a successful business, you've got to go global, or you've got to go national, or whatever. Now, my impression is that you work in your local area.
I've had venture capitalists come in and want to expand my business and take it to new levels, but I've always resisted that, because I will not grow unless I can keep the same philosophy, the same passion. I won't grow for the sake of profit. There's a certain line that I've got to draw. So basically, to me, it still comes back to that work-life balance. And even though I'm passionate with my customers, but I'll never sacrifice my marriage or my health to earn another million or two. I just wouldn't do it. It's not worth it.
That's a nice segue into what I was going to ask you next
Okay.
about the work-life balance. I guess success looks really different for everybody. But certainly when I'm coaching people, one thing that I see that's often missing is they don't actually go through the process of defining what success looks like for them. Now, you're obviously, very clear on what it looks like for you right now. Would you perhaps like to share with us what success means to you and how you incorporate that work-life balance?
I think success to me is just mainly to do with family. Like, I just think that it's absolutely all about the family. So to me, success is someone who's got a job or got a business that they're passionate about. I'm not saying that you have to be skipping to work every day and absolutely look forward to Monday, but I am saying that success is being happy at the job, but also most importantly, family. Like every time one of my sons says, "Hey, Dad, let's go for a surf," then they just give me a nugget of gold, and you can't put a price on that. And when my daughter rings me up, "Come on, Dad, we need some father and daughter time." Well, I'll do it no matter what, no matter how tired I am or what I'm doing. I will literally drop everything to have that meeting, because to me, when your children actually want to spend time with you, especially as they're adults, then that to me means everything. I ride a Harley Davidson, and my daughter, she's 25 now, and she's ever since she's been 5 years old, she's been on the back of a Harley. So we've done a couple of 4 or 5 day trips, and we will go in these little townships, and she will sleep in the double bed with me, even though there might be a couple of beds there, because she's not too proud to basically share a bed with her old dad. And to me, that means millions and millions of dollars to have that type of relationship with your kids, where they're proud to say, "That's my dad," or so that to me is work-life balance. Now, it took me a while to get that, because when I was first starting out, when my kids were 3 and 4 years old and all that, at one stage there, they actually called one of my friends Dad, because I was working all the time, and my friends would visit us, but I'd be at work, so they'd just stay there and visit my wife, and they were there more often than me sometimes, and so I was just working all the time trying to get my business sorted out. So it takes a while to get that work-life balance, and you do have to work hard being self-employed, but I've knocked back incredibly millions of dollars so I could be at my daughter's recital for dancing, or my 3 sons are all black belts, so be there when they're having their tournaments, and I haven't missed any major thing on any of my kids, and the eldest is 36 and the youngest is 25. So work, that balance.
Yeah. So did you get that from your parents? Is that where you've
No, I got that from not from personal development. I got all that from talking to customers. Like, when I was a one-man show, you may not realize, but I was a talker, and I would listen to all these old dears tell me about, they're having dramas with their children, or their life, what happened in their life and all that. And like, I've spoken to people that have been in concentration camps and been through a World War II, and I was just happy that I listened to them. And also, I had a look at I had a terrible upbringing as a child, being bashed and all sorts of things. But then I sort of say, well, I wasn't molested. It wasn't that bad. So basically, I always just sort of take the good. And when my father would do things to me, I'd say to myself, if I ever have kids, there's no way in the world I'd do that to my kids. So to me, life is incredibly simple, and I just think human beings make it complicated. So I just I absolutely keep things simple.
like we were talking just before I hit record on this session, there's always good in any situation. And I love the fact that you see that so brightly, and you know, you can learn a lot from what you see bad. I mean, before I started running my own business, I worked in corporate life in like big chartered accounting firms, and I hated the culture. And where does that come from? Well, the culture comes from the senior partners down. And I'm going to generalize here, but I saw them as gambling, drinking, smoking, womanizers, and they were doing it with, you know, the staff. And I'm like, I don't want to be part of this. This doesn't feel good. I don't feel like I want to create. I don't want to emulate you. And
well, that's why I've never I grew up on the rough side of the tracks, but I've never done drugs. I've never drank. I've never smoked, because back when I was 17, I had all the peer pressure on me to do these things. I literally, my simple brain said, I cannot see the sense in sucking in smoke and blowing it out. Or my friends would be lovely people when they're sober, but when they got drunk, they were violent, and they were violent to their girlfriends. And my simple mind says, you know what? Why would you drink this bitter tasting stuff called beer, and then get violent or change into a different person? So, again, my simplicity said no. And even though I had a lot of peer pressure, and you know, you can't trust people who don't drink and things like that, but I just didn't worry about the peer pressure. To me, it was just, you know what? I can't see the sense in it. I'm not doing it. And this is what I wish all my children had more of, because that peer pressure or influences or whatever is incredibly strong.
Yeah, it's stronger than when we were growing up.
Yep.
Because you've got, like, it's so just here and now with the social media.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about coaching. I'm a huge fan of coaching, making yourself, you know, be the best person that you can be. Tell me what impact, or the type of coaching that you've had, and the impact that it's had on you in making you a more successful business.
I went through 2 years worth of a lot of personal development, 10, 12 years ago, that basically cost about 100 grand a year. So, so that 200,000 was money well spent, because it was like having a university degree that I can use for the rest of my life. Since that 2 years, I've done a lot of coaching, but being coached, and I've been coached by Tony Robbins, head coach in Australia here, another one of his coaches in Africa. But what I haven't got a lot out of it. What I've mainly got out of the coaching is just reinforce what I've been doing is okay. So I certainly believe in coaching, and I've paid a lot of money for my sons to have coaching. So it's not that I don't believe in it, but I just struggle with it because I don't like the hype part of the coaching. Like I think a coach should be warning people about, you know what, one coaching session is not going to, a fitness session is not going to make you a fit person. If you want to be fit, and you want me to coach you to be fit, you need to hang in there for a while, and you need to actually do some work. So I just get frustrated when these coaches say, you know, watch this podcast and you'll know all the secrets on how he become a multimillionaire. You can't do all that in one podcast. It takes years and years and years to learn all that. So I fully believe in coaching, but the main thing I've got out of it is how you know, how you got to hang in there, and also it reinforces that this stuff that I was naturally doing, I've been doing well. But the biggest thing with the personal development is the time. Like time is the most incredibly precious thing that we got, and no matter how rich or poor you are, everybody's got the exact same time. So my wife and I, we won't visit a relation because they're a relation. We'll say to ourselves, you know what, that's an awful person. Why are we wasting our time going to see this awful person? Big deal, he's a relation. So we analyze our time a hell of a lot more since we've done some coaching and personal development.
Yeah, beautiful. So I wanted to come back to a couple of points you said there. First of all, which some people will be watching this now and will have gone, boom, what? You spent $200,000 on coaching and think that's just crazy. But what I always say to people is find the best coach that you can afford. And when I first invested in coaching, I couldn't afford it, but I knew that it was going to take me to that next level. And then your next point was, it was well worth it because, you've made it back tenfold or whatever by now because of what you've learned. And where you were talking about, being cautious of coaches, I think certainly I see it if I'm watching YouTube or whatever, and you get all the ads come up. Every second person is a different coach that's shooting a video that the camera's moving around like this, and they look broke, and they're saying that they've done all of this in their sleep and, hardly doing any work at all. And they've made millions of dollars, but basically they're trying to make money by selling a course to they either have made the money or they haven't. And those coaches that have the fake pictures in front of the cars and the planes and all that kind of stuff, which is like, you've got to be able to see through all of that.
Yeah, you do. And that's sort of just like there's bad cabinet makers and kitchen companies who don't do a good job. I'm sure it's the same in the coaching industry, and it's terrible because then it sort of makes it bad for the good guys who do it properly.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned at the start about your age, retirement, and so forth. One of the things that I notice when people go into business is that they don't think about an exit strategy. So maybe we could talk a little into that and what your exit strategy is and how, I suppose, you're not just going to come up with a day and say, oh, I don't feel like going to work today, or I'm going to close the business. You've been planning this for some time. Maybe what's been your thought process in, getting, your sons and daughter and everything ready to take over the business, what your plans are after the business, because you don't seem like the sort of guy that's going to retire from life.
No. It's really a tough question because I had no exit plan whatsoever for the first probably 20 years, because in them 20 years, you're just trying to survive, You're doing work for builders and they're going broke on you and they can't pay you, and then you've got staff issues and all that. So you're just surviving. But for the last probably 10 or 15 years, my exit plan has really been no exit plan. And what I mean by that is I've never relied on selling the business to retire, because I don't want to have all my eggs in one basket if I can't sell it. So basically, I've been, slowly, many years, about 15 years ago, I said to myself, how can I make a couple of $100,000 a year and not employ one single person? Even though I love the people I employ and we're like a big family, but there's still a headache.
Yes.
So the wife and I have been studying the share market. And also I did that because I want my wife to be able to earn money if something happened to me. So we both got studied the share market, and that was our exit strategy by way of Rod's Kitchens feeds us and looks after us, and we earn extra money to go into shares, and then all that money is just growing because we don't need it.
Yes.
And as far as our kids getting involved in the business, I never ever wanted them in the business because it's a really, really tough business.
Yes.
There's a lot of things that go wrong when you build a kitchen. So I never thought my kids would even want to be in the business because, as they were growing up, they would hear me at the dinner table say to my wife, "You wouldn't believe what happened today." So they would have heard all that while they were growing up. But I'm a huge lover in the universe, and things happen for a reason. So for the last 3 years, my eldest son's a cabinet maker, so he's on the floor working, and he'll never be a boss because he doesn't like it. But my other two sons, who are not cabinet makers, they got university degrees in various things. They've both been running the business for about 5 years.
Right.
So they've been trying to kick me out for a couple of years now.
Dad, get out! It's out.
Yeah, and now I'm ready to be kicked out. So basically, I'm retiring definitely next year, probably this year. We've got our house on the market, and we're literally selling our house and we own our house. So we're basically putting all that money in shares with our other money. And for the next 5 years, while we're youngish and healthy, we're literally going to live on another level, because we've got a ridiculous amount of income that we don't need. And basically, we're just going into retirement full bore for the next 5 years, and then we'll settle down and buy a house or a unit somewhere, and work it out. Because to me, retirement is go overseas for a few months, get sick of it, come back to Australia. After a couple of months, go jump on the Harley Davidson and go around Australia for a couple of months. So to me, retirement is not necessarily start another business or whatever, but just basically keep busy by living life, especially while we're young, because at 60 years old, the numbers are sort of against you, because we most of us live to about 83, 84. The last few years, you tend to be not that active. So we're down to 80 now. And in the last 5 years, a bit sus. So we're down to 75. So so I've got 65 years. I think I've got 15 years, sorry, of head down, bum up. Go do the Yellowstone National Park, or go do all that physical stuff while you're fit and strong. Because I am fit and strong. My wife and I, we've climbed up Mount Kilimanjaro.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
I've done a couple of 7,500 kilometre Dakar type motorbike races. We're both really quite out there and fit. So we just we're so headstrong into retirement that we're willing to sell our house to do it.
Yeah, that's wonderful. An amazing story. I love to see successful people planning things out, going to that next level, and just really enjoying life. Because a lot of people, I think about building this, I don't know, big bucket of money, and they're not necessarily happy in doing it. And I know we had a separate conversation about, you don't have to have any money at all, and you can be very happy indeed.
Well, I think they get trapped. They get trapped, because I remember doing work in over 50s retirement villages a long time ago. And I said to my wife, wow, these people got it made. If this is all I could afford when we go to retire, this would be wonderful. They're not normally near the water or near a nice lake. You've only got one little tiny house and yard. And I tell you what, then people are deliriously happy.
Yes.
They haven't got Lamborghinis and they haven't got $5 million homes like I've got. But you know what? They are really, really happy. So so it's not about the money and the assets.
No, it's not at all. Tell me, I'm curious, obviously being in the business, and I know you said you don't go in, all the time. In retirement, what are your thoughts around, keeping your mind active intellectually, that growth? Because if you are in the business, there's so many different things to be done that requires your thinking time. And then there's those people that say, okay, well, I'm going to retire. I'm just going to play golf 3 times a week and whatever. And particularly for men, you see when they retire from their, executive jobs and being, successful business owners, they can tend to just die away because they haven't replaced that with something else that's meaningful, whether it's contributing to others or whatever. So I'm just curious as to what your approach is.
Yeah, well, you're 100% right. And this is why I'm talking to you now, because one of the things I want to do mentally is to help others, be a mentor and do it in a different way, in a really like a street fighting type of way of explaining things to people. Like I've been in CEO clubs for a couple of years off and on, and they were terrible. They were just like monthly meetings of bragging about what they got and what they do. So I never got anything out of it. Whereas to me, if someone's going to ask me, how did you go into retirement? And I could tell them exactly step by step on how I got to retire like I did. So to me, I would like to keep my brain active by helping people achieve their goals in a different way than what's out there, sort of thing.
Yes.
So in other words, something to get their teeth into, because of all the coaching I've had done, A lot of times I'll start with a blank piece of paper, and I will truly be open, and I'll truly write down if I've learnt anything. And many times at the end of that session, I've still got a blank piece of paper, because I haven't learnt anything, or they haven't reminded me of something that I've forgotten to do. So I just feel that I could give people a lot of value by not necessarily jumping in their business and doing it for them, but by saying, look, this is actually what I did.
Yes.
And not just, oh, you just got to go into advertising and you just got to get onto Instagram, whatever. I don't do that. I can tell them exactly what I've done. Like when I put my business up for sale, I can say to a potential buyer, we do nearly 300 kitchens a year, and I can prove to you and show you where 200 of my kitchens come from recommendations or past customers. So of my $6 million turnover, 4 million comes from we're doing the right thing. 2 million comes from $100,000 worth of advertising. And I can tell them what type of advertising I do. So that to me is the nitty gritty of what I'd like to be able to teach people.
Yes. Yeah, beautiful. I think a lot of people they just talk, and they don't necessarily, like I said before, people selling courses on how to teach people to do stuff, but they don't necessarily have the track record of doing the actual thing that they're selling the course in.
Exactly right. Yeah. Yeah.
So with you, 40, you can't do what you're doing for 40 years and not be successful. Like I've been in business myself for 12 years. I worked in corporates for 19 years. I see so many people come and go in my industry, in my local area. And I get people that come to me that they want the cheapest thing. And I'm like, if you want the cheapest, you don't come to me.
Yeah.
I said, so I'm not the cheapest. I said, I'm the best. I'm not the cheapest. Yeah. If you get what you pay for. So I love that. Like you've just so nicely, worked out where it is that you're going, where you are right now. I think that's amazing. What's how are you going with the sale of your house? What's the real estate prices like up in Queensland?
Where we live in Casuarina, just near Tweed Heads, just over the border.
No.
And this area has exploded. So we've got an offer coming in today at 5.3 million. So we've only been in the house for 4 years. So we've got a $3 million windfall that we pay no tax on, that we can't ignore. So if I wasn't retiring, we wouldn't sell. But because I'm retiring, and because that money can be used to fund an incredibly rich retirement, we are retiring. And the thing is, I wanted to retire at 55 when my daughter finishes school, but that didn't happen because of the GFC. And I love it when things don't happen, because to me, I absolutely love the universe. Yes. And I don't know how many times my sons rouse on me and they say, Dad, we need another tradesman. And I said, okay, just put it out there and someone will come. Yeah, but we should put an ad in. No, it'll happen. Like at the moment, we need a general manager because I'm trying to get my sons out of the business so we can sell the business without the sons involved. So a general manager has already come along. So nice. I tend to leave things to the universe. And even when things don't happen, you get disappointed. Later on, sometimes years later, you think, gee, I'm glad that deal didn't happen, because if it did, I'd be in real trouble. Yes. So I'm very, very guilty of, and we've had our ups and downs with our children. Well, I haven't had a perfect life. No one has a perfect life. Our eldest son suffers depression, and we went through the suicide thing plenty of times. Even just recently with his marriage split up 3 years ago. So I'm not saying I have a charmed life, but the thing is, whatever's gone wrong, if you look hard enough, you do find something good's come out of it. Yeah. And things happen for a reason. So I just think that the worst thing we can do is not listen to the universe, because she or he is a hard teacher, and if you don't listen to him or her, she'll give you another lesson a lot harder. So absolutely, you've got to listen.
I know you're up in Queensland and we're down in Melbourne here, and COVID has certainly hit us way harder than you lucky guys up there. You not only get the better weather, but you get the better everything with COVID. But I see so much toxic stuff on COVID and the vaccines and all that kind of stuff on social media.
Yeah.
But for me, over these last 18 months, even though our business now has had to be forced to be closed for about 300 days now over the last 18 months, which is crazy. But what it's done has created so many opportunities for me over the last 18 months. This show came out of COVID lockdown, the first one.
Yeah, so that's something good out of something bad.
That's right. And through this show, I've been able to connect with, people like yourself and, celebrities all around the world and just add value to people in, I don't know how many, we're in up to about 90, 100 countries now. Something that I never would have conceived as possible before. And previously, if I was trying to sell my services to you around the corner, because we couldn't come and see each other in person, previously, before COVID, you say, what are you, crazy? Why would I want to do that?
Yeah.
But now people are like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll jump on. Yeah. How do I do it? Send me a link. So my last year has been more successful than any other year that I've had in business.
Yeah.
Through the hardest times, because there were some great opportunities that never otherwise would have existed. And it forced this to change. I had to think how to do it differently.
Yeah.
So it's been really great.
Well, and as far as the success thing, I went over and done a $10,000 Toby Robbins course a few years ago, about 4 years ago now, over in Florida. And my wife said, what are we spending all that money for when you're going to retire soon? And I said, oh, no, he's highly recommended. The Harvard Business School and Oxford, University recommend Tony Robbins this business course. And when I went over there to do it, there was like 5,000. I didn't know there was much personal development, and I thought it was mainly to do with business. So I went over to Florida, and there was 5,000 people there, and I was quite disappointed because I thought we'd get a lot more personal one-on-one stuff. Anyway, but what he did, he broke us all up into groups of 8 people, and out of them 8 people, I was the poorest by a long shot, because one fellow had 800 workers, the other fellow had 450 workers, and but all these captains of industry were just doting on my every word, and what they even recorded me, and the reason being is because they would ask me, so how many days a week do you work? And I said, well, back then I was going into work 1 day a week. And they said, well, how many holidays a year do you have? And I said, oh, if you added them all up together, maybe 10 weeks. Or they'd say, so how long have you been married? Oh, 40 years. And you still talk to all your children? How many kids you got? 4 kids. Because all these people, every one of them either was on their 2nd or 3rd marriage, 1 or 2 heart attacks, stressed to the maximum, working long hours, and yet monetary wise, they would murder me as far as how rich they are. Yes. But I felt far more successful than them. Yeah. So the lesson I got that is I didn't learn anything in business. Like, it was almost a waste of money, but it wasn't a waste of money, because I felt really successful, because all these incredibly rich people around me were in awe at me and my life with my lousy 20 people I got working for me. So it was a good wake-up call.
I think a lot of people get drawn in by measuring their success and their happiness by their bank account.
Yeah.
And that's not always fulfilling. It can help.
Or they say, oh, I'll be successful when I've got $1 million. Yeah. Or I'll be happy when I've got a Lamborghini. I was at an outback town one day on my motorbike, and I was observing looked like a person on a dole. And I was observing how they really took their time to walk across the street to go to the newsagents to buy a paper, and slowly walk back. And I looked at them, and I'm thinking, if you're truly happy, I envy you, because he's not worrying about his car breaking down. He's not worried about wanting to go overseas on a holiday. He might, if he's genuinely happy, just taking ages to read the paper, taking ages to walk across the road, then good on him. then he could be more successful than a multi-millionaire.
Yes, exactly.
So,
Rod, this has been fantastic. I really appreciate your time today. I'm sure we could speak for a couple of days. Hey, if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, on my website, they should be able to get, I'm pretty sure my phone number's on my website. So yeah, if anyone would like to get in contact with me, I'd love to help people. Yeah.
And that's rodskitchen.com.
Yeah, RODS, yeah, rodskitchens.com.au.
Fantastic. Well, I truly appreciate you taking some time out. Good luck with the sale of the house. I know we very much die, a lot of people die asset rich and cash poor here in Australia. So your approach is exactly the same approach that I'm taking when I get to my retirement age. Because why not live it up?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, go to another level. Why not?
That's right. Thanks for your time today, Rod. It's been great.
Hey, very welcome, and thanks for your time too.
Thank you.
Good on you. Thanks, mate.